Welcome to Industrial Problem Solving. My name is Dave Roysum. This is a continuation of a mini-series on troubleshooting web manufacturing and converting issues using the best practices of traceability. See the 4 earlier clips if you've not already done so. Please pay attention here because taking too much trim can cost your company money. However, taking too little trim can also cost your company money because it will almost certainly increase internal rejection as well as customer complaints. In this clip, we discuss how much trim to take and when to take it. The when to trim is usually the easiest. You trim early if the trims are giving you trouble, such as if they are baggy, tight, or weak. Conversely, you trim late if the trims provide some protection for the main web, such as salvage edges on textiles. Note that you can and will likely trim at more than one location. Of course, more trim locations mean more trim costs due to equipment costs and maintenance, but most especially due to decreased overall reliability. The how to trim is beyond the scope of this clip. However, there are wonderful 1- and 2-day schools on slitting. Go to school. There are a dozen articles on trim removal systems. See the Roysum Library for a list and read before you build or buy. How much trim is taken in practice is usually based on an ideology. That waste is bad. Here we specifically mean the trim waste is bad. As such, we will try and sell as much of the parent roll width as possible. If we cut narrow shipping rolls, computer nesting programs will be used to help maximize saleable width. While all of this trim waste reduction seems quite reasonable, especially given lean ideologies, it turns out to be economically wrong in some cases, as we will see in the next clip. I was involved in troubleshooting what turned out to be a very expensive horror story. It started out with customer complaints on a very stable 10-year-old product line. The root cause eventually turned out to be that a film supplier found a customer for narrow rolls and thus redeckled the cut pattern to sell more of the width of the machine. They did not tell their converting customer of this move because everything about the film was still in spec. The result, after much finger-pointing between 3 companies and much trial and tribulation, was that the supplier needed to take back $500,000 in inventory, every other roll, in order to not lose their best customer. Stories like this should come as no surprise to veteran web handlers. We know that 80% of all complaints come from the outer 20% of the web's original width. So, the big question now is, how far in does this damage go? Obviously, that depends greatly on the machine making or converting the web, but also as well as on your own customer's tolerance for trouble. However, in paper, we know that the outer 20 centimeters is unusable, and the outer 100 centimeters is quite damaged and risky. Every other process and every other customer and every other person will have a different conclusion as to how much of the web's edge is damaged. No less important here is that the role ID systems that we described in the last clip are a very incomplete description of risk, because no mention is made of the design width of the machine or how much trim is being taken from that design width. All we know is that the end rolls are risky, but have no idea of just how risky they may be. So, the best answer of how much trim to take cannot come from management, and cannot come from engineering, and cannot come from test labs or contract specs, and cannot come from ideologies such as lean. The best answer of how much trim should be taken can only come from economics. If you take too much trim, internal waste rises. If you take too little trim, customer complaints rise. Both extremes will reduce profits. Those of you who follow my many writings and teachings on optimization will know how to work this problem. Those that have not seen this need to go to school. Might I suggest my award-winning and trademarked Web 101 school that has been taken by 5,000 students just like you. Thank you so very much for joining me in this problem-solving and problem-preventing process. Yes, this was a short clip, but I hope you paid attention, because in many ways this was one of the most important in this series. That is because one of the best ways to lose a customer is to ship them end rolls. In the next clip, we will discuss the troubles that can happen in storage and learn about TTP problems related to time, temperature, and pressure. If you found anything interesting or useful here, please consider supporting the work of this channel using the Patreon link below. Patreons are given special thank you gifts ranging from email help to a signed copy of my latest book, the must-have 500-page web handling handbook. See you next time.